on the record with me, Dennis Morrison. I have two records I want to share with you this week. One is a classic children's record from the 1940s, The Gingerbread Boy, and we're going to take a look at that and listen to it in just a little bit. But before that, I want to show you this really cool record that I got at Records and Tapes Galore here in Saginaw, Michigan. I've talked about them a lot because they're the greatest place you can go to buy records, in my opinion. It is called Harmonica Favorites. From the look of the artwork, I would say it is probably late 1950s, early 1960s, released by Topps Records. Nice jacket, factory sealed for your protection, and it's Topps Golden Sound. I want to read part of this to you. It says, "Pure gold vinyl symphonic records are the finest recordings and the greatest value available in the record world today. All original recordings are recorded on dual track magnet." The thing I wanted to point out here is that it said on golden vinyl, purest sound, and these went through different quality checks before they actually were released. And I want to show you the record. I love colored vinyl, as I'm sure probably most of you do, but this one is in error because it is that lovely, just warm yellow, golden yellow vinyl, and then too much dye got dropped into it, and so it's got streaks across it like blood. So it's kind of cool. I just thought it was something interesting, a little unusual piece. I don't think it's of any substantial value. If it was the Beatles or something like that, I'd say, oh boy, David Dennis is set for life. But I'm sure that it is just a curiosity, and I really liked the way that it looked. It was a surprise because I got it in a box of free records, and every once in a while there's something pretty cool in those. But the main one I want to talk to you about today is this, and it is was released in 1940 on Musette Records, and it is the Gingerbread Boy. But before we get into that too much, I want to give you a little bit of background on the Gingerbread Boy, where he came from, and when. So, you know, when I was a boy, which has been a few years ago, I'll admit, actually it was when I was about 5 years old, my mother would often take me to McGregor's drugstore on the Dixie Highway in Bridgeport, Michigan. It was only about maybe 3 or 4 blocks from our house, and she would always buy me a storybook, one of the golden storybooks, and then we would go home and she would read them to me, and I would, you know, I treasured my books. I was always taught books are our friends, and they indeed are, but records are our very good friends. So one of my favorites, though, was The Gingerbread Boy. And, well, let's face it, the charming story has entertained a few generations of young people over the years, and probably will go on doing so unless it falls victim somehow to the woke culture and gets canceled like Dr. Seuss and so many others have gone by the wayside. I don't know what you could find offensive about The Gingerbread Boy, but I will bet you this. Somebody, somewhere, can find something offensive in it. But for kids back in the 1940s, which was, believe it or not, before me, on-record book read-along sets were a main source of home entertainment. You had the radio in the home, and you had records. And if you were a more affluent family, you might have had a 8 or 16 millimeter movie projector, which would have had different little feature films and stuff that were released. But the main entertainment, though, would have been the radio and records. So the record I'm showing you today, as I said in the beginning, it was released by Musette Records in 1940, and this one originally belonged to a 9-year-old boy named Walter Boehringer, and if that sounds familiar, it's because I did a video a few times back about an audio journal of sorts that little Walter kept back in the 1940s, and to me it's an absolute treasure. But this was one of his records, and let's have a little bit of a history lesson, though, on the Gingerbread Boy. I was surprised at when it all began. The Gingerbread Boy story began in 1875. Unbelievable. In an issue of St. Nicholas's Magazine, which was a children's magazine, a monthly issue children's magazine. And the original story begins like this. Now you shall hear a story that somebody's great-great-grandmother told a little girl ever so many years ago. This version, I particularly like. The artwork is so typical of that particular era. It's in, I believe, 4 color. Let's see, there's yellow, green, red, black, and blue. 5 color. Anyways, it's not like a full-bodied color. And that was typical for the era. It is a musical radio script and record. And it was, the music was by Molly Donaldson, and the story was by Madge Tucker. Now, a quick internet search, and I found nothing on these two people except that they had done other children's records. Cinderella was one, Little Black Sambo was another, and I'm sure in the collection that I have from this era there are probably others, just haven't discovered them yet. Inside, because it is a radio script that is in with the record, we have over here terms that were used for radio direction and what they meant. And then again, the very colorful title page. Beautiful, really beautifully done. Simple but beautiful. It was illustrated by J. Raymond var Tanayan. And again, I searched the internet and could find nothing on this particular individual, though I'm sure he probably did, again, other children's records that I have in my collection. This was copyright 1940, published by Musette Incorporated. Now, I think it's really cool because over here you have the complete cast, everybody that's in this particular story, but then you have a really nice script over. You have the full script, and you have more very colorful illustrations, wonderful illustrations. I mean, this would have been a delight to any child at that time, I would think. And then you also have, something else here I want to show you. You also have the music to go along with the radio play. This particular one, Patty Cake Baker Man, I'm sure that you are as familiar with as myself. And then there's the Gingerbread, or there's I'm the Gingerbread Boy, I Am. And then let's take a look at the record itself. Take a look at the label. The record is in quite good condition. I have to say that Walter took good care of the records that he had, and it is a fairly common, not a label that stands out and jumps out at you, but it's subdued, but it's nice, and again, it's typical of that era in records. So, having said all that, I'm going to cut my comment short here, and I'm going to actually play this record for you and hope that I don't get into copyright problems with YouTube. With their new checks and balances, I can usually find out if there's a problem with something before it actually is viewable by all of you, and so I can make adjustments if I need to the video, but hopefully I won't have to. Hopefully we'll enjoy this together. So I think that's about all I wanted to say about it. Hope you'll enjoy the record, and I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I thank you very much for that. Now let's take a listen to The Gingerbread Boy from 1940, Musette Records.
On a crooked little street in the kingdom of Once Upon a Time, there lived a patty-cake baker man. He was the best baker in the land. Children came from everywhere to look in at his windows and sniff at the odors that oozed from his kitchen.
I want a cinnamon bun. I'll take a macaroon. I'd like some chocolate cake. I want it soon. Patty cake, baker man. Bake us a cake as fast as you can. Fill it with something good to eat and make it extra sweet. Patty cake, baker man. Hurry up, fill the pan. We've got a penny and it's bright and new. We've saved it up for you. We can't wait all day. Our temperature is rising, and it is not surprising, for we want a patty cake right away. Patty cake, baker man. Bake us a cake as fast as you can. Give 3 cheers and clap your hands for the patty cake baker man.
Strawberry shortcake, huckleberry pie, coconut cookies, me oh my, jelly roll whipped cream, yum yum yum. Yay me, whoa that's dumb.
vinegar and lemon?
Nay, nay, nay.
Put vanilla in it?
Well, I guess we want a patty cake that we like best. Yay, team! We can't wait all day. Our temperature is rising, and it is not surprising, for we want a patty cake right away.
Patty cake, baker man, bake us a cake as fast as you can.
Give 3 cheers and clap your hands for the patty cake baker man. Yay, yay, yay! Patty cake baker man, yay!
One day, an odor of hot, fresh gingerbread came drifting out of the bakery shop, calling the children for miles around. And the patty cake baker man had an idea.
I've a little dough left over. I'll bake a gingerbread boy and surprise the children.
And he did. The most wonderful gingerbread boy you ever saw or imagined. With raisins for eyes, a cherry for a mouth, and little currant buttons marching up and down his little brown coat. But the baker man had no sooner popped him into the oven than a voice was heard crying.
Let me out of here. Let me out. It's hot.
The baker opened the oven door, and wonder of wonders, out popped the gingerbread boy.
Phew, it's hot in there. What are you trying to do, burn a fellow up?
The children gathered round. They could hardly believe their ears, for the gingerbread boy had come to life. Suddenly, he began to sing.
I'm the gingerbread boy, I am the gingerbread boy am I. I hop and I skip, I run and I jump, and over the hills I fly. Fresh out of the oven, I'm better than pie. So tender and loving, I'm a wonderful guy. Yes, I am. I'm a wonderful guy, I am. The gingerbread boy am I. I am. The gingerbread boy am I.
While everyone was gathered around admiring the gingerbread boy, the royal coach and four drove up.
The Queen is having a party and everyone is bored. If anybody here can suggest a way to entertain the King and Queen and their royal guests, he will be rewarded.
Well, how about me? I'm a very amusing fellow. I can make them all laugh. I can.
And so saying, the gingerbread boy whistled to a robin sitting in a tree. Taxi, said the robin. To the palace, said the gingerbread boy. And the gingerbread boy flew away on the robin's back, leaving the whole town singing his praises.
The gingerbread boy was the cutest cookie baked in the town. The gingerbread boy was the cookie with the top coat of brown. The sweet little dish made everyone wish they could always have him round.
He knew what excuse to make Mr. Blues fall right down on his crown.
The gingerbread boy went to calling on the king and the queen. The gingerbread boy had the swellest time that he'd ever seen. He made them all gay, he told them to play, they pleaded with him to stay. And you can bring joy if you're happy as a sweet little gingerbread boy.
When he arrived at the palace, the gingerbread boy walked right up to the king and queen and said,
I've come to cheer you up. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, smile.
when they saw his raisin eyes, his cherry mouth, and the little currant buttons marching up and down his little brown coat, they began to smile. They chuckled. They laughed. They screamed. They roared.
Mr. Ginger went to court, saw the knocker on the door, said, I never knock, I boost. They began to roar. The king stepped out upon the floor, said, what are you laughing for? No one knew the answer, so they all laughed some more. Oh, they laughed, ha, 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 ha. They laughed, ho, 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 ho. They laughed, he, he, he. They wouldn't let him go. Oh, they held their sides and rolled their eyes. They shook from head to toe. They laughed, ha, 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 ha. They laughed, ho, 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 ho.
Oh, they laughed, ha, 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 ha. They laughed, ho, 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 ho. They laughed, hee, 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 hee. They wouldn't let him go. Oh, they held their sides and rolled their eyes. They shook from head to toe. They laughed, ha, 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 ha. They laughed, ho, 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 ho.
The Queen's party was a huge success, and the king was so pleased, he made the gingerbread boy Knight of the Cookie Jar and invited him to live at the palace. But the gingerbread boy said,
No, thanks. I'd better go back to the bakery shop. There's no place like home.
and the robin carried him away just as he'd come. And when he got back to the baker's shop, the pat-a-cake baker man had just finished baking the loveliest sugar dolly, and the two of them fell in love at sight. And one night when the lights were low in the bakery, they were married, And all the cookies and cakes and the pies and donuts, too, joined the celebration in a grand cakewalk.
Everybody is happy doing the new cakewalk. And the music is happy playing the new cakewalk.
When that rhythm starts a chug, 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 and my feet cannot refrain. When